Hello and welcome to That Was the Woke That Was, the topical quiz show that gives you the opportunity to hear the wokest stories of the week. And we promise there's absolutely no snowflakes allowed. Now, let me tell you, Maya Toosey is on strike this week. We're currently talking to him through the conciliation service ACAS and hoping to get a result and get him back into the studio pretty soon. But for now, we've got Pete Barnes on his own, and we've got, on the other side, Fleur, Meston and Portia, Berry-Kilby. Let's get this party started. Greggs has become the latest high street shop to introduce pronoun badges after a wave of demand from staff.
It doesn't surprise me, this, because it's a growing trend throughout all the major companies. It's not just companies like Greggs. I know there's quite a lot of the accountancy firms, a lot of big law firms. Oh, God, of course you've got something. You know, they're starting to put these pronouns on badges, on email signatures, and all this kind of stuff. It's really hard to take seriously. And, you know, it's one of those things. I think if people want to, you know, put the pronouns on... If people want to put the pronouns on their own badges or whatever, I think that's fine. What I have a problem with is if it's forced, and more importantly, when this stops becoming voluntary and you're kind of compelled to use somebody's pronouns and it becomes a legal matter, like which is where it's gone in Canada.
Let me tell you that I self-defined these 4 sausage rolls as a donut, and that actually not only did that cut the cost of the sausage rolls, but also it cut the calorific content. Because I've inhaled 4 of these so far, which would have been 1,312 calories, but by defining it as a donut, I only consumed 390. What do you think?
I think Greg started going wrong when they introduced vegan sausage rolls. That was the beginning of the end. There's no recovery after that. And you always see them in Greg's with like whole piles of vegan sausage rolls, and then you want a real sausage roll, and there's like 2 left.
Do you know, I've said this before though, I hate it whenever you go onto like these crowdfunding sites or whatever, or adverts on Facebook, and they go, "We've reinvented food. Have you made a burger?" Yes. Yeah. No, we made a burger. It's a whole new burger. So come on, look. You've not eaten your sausage roll. You're not into it quite yet.
I'll save it later. I just remember when Greggs came under scrutiny because they did the nativity scene with baby Jesus as a sausage roll.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
That was a few years ago, and I wasn't a fan of that.
I know that this is true.
It is absolutely true! Cooking on gas. That was 53 points to the Barnes. It's like blockbusters now, isn't it? 1 on one side and 2 on the other. The Mr. Men books have added a new woke character called Little Miss Waste Less. In the book, the climate activist reuses carrier bags and refuses to wash her sheets every day.
That just sounds like Mr. Lazy, you know? It sounds mad. They used to be like just typical, it's not even that gendered stereotypes in Mr. Men and Little Miss books, and now it's gone crackers and woke.
Little Miss Waste-Less has decided that she's concerned about the plight of immigrants coming to the United Kingdom. She's concerned. I mean, you know, lefties are so humorless, aren't they?
Oh,
they're so boring, they're so sad, they're just so depressing.
I just find it extraordinary. Mind you, the Mr. Men books are not that much fun anyway.
Yeah.
When you said Little Miss Waist to Less, I thought it was going to be like someone without a waist, so just like really fat. Kind of like body image,
positivity.
Yeah. This is even worse than that.
No, body positive. I'm not getting into all that. Listen.
You could pitch that to them.
Yeah.
Well,
this is the interesting thing with this story. Mr. Men and Little Miss, they've got a bit of a track record on going woke, because a couple of years ago there was Mr. Calm was introduced, who does yoga, and there's Little Miss Brave is another one that was about female empowerment. She stands up to her friends apparently, and
is her name Meghan?
But no, they've got a real track record on like turning this into woke, and you know this story is just ridiculous. And like you said, it's not fun for kids. It's just pushing nonsense and people feeling like they're doing something.
OK, so is it true the Mr. Men books have added a new woke character called Little Miss Waste Less?
It sounds right.
True.
Yeah.
It is absolutely true! 86 points.
It feels wrong clapping these things when they're just so awful things that have occurred.
That's right. It just makes it easier to edit, love. That's all. Oh, you can't say love anymore.
No, you can't
I've
say
just
that.
done it twice now. OK. Anyway, come on, Barnes. Classic Christmas film Home Alone has been banned by the BBC after viewers complained the main character was a victim of child abuse.
Oh, do you know what annoys me? This is that out there that it could possibly be true. This is what annoys me about these stories. Every time I come on this show, this is the thing. So it does seem to be a bit of the fun police, and there's always something about Christmas films that they just want to ruin.
Yes.
They just go after Christmas, because I think it's the time that we all kind of just relax a little bit and we all want to have some fun, but fun is not allowed. Woke people don't like fun.
Well, I remember we were talking about this the other week when we were talking about the song Fairy Tale of New York. It's not a gay slur. She was married to him. It was like she wasn't accused of being a homosexual. She was married to the bloke. She was just in a bad mood.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, actually, because when you look at, not Home Alone, because I would say something very controversial now, I've actually never seen Home Alone. I don't look at me like that.
Sorry, Peter, you have spent time with me and you are claiming not seeing Home Alone is the most controversial thing that's happened this year. This show takes about 8 hours to film. No, can't say that.
You can't say that.
Can't say that.
No, but if you look at Home Alone...
The show gets censored more than North Korea.
Yeah, it's true. But if you look at Home Alone 2, there was calls for getting a scene out of that banned because it had Donald Trump in it.
Yeah.
He has a cameo in it, so the people wanted that bit cut from it. So it generally wouldn't surprise me if this is true, because, like I said, people don't want us to enjoy Christmas. We're not allowed to have fun, and, it just seems like it could possibly be true.
But you do see this in the media quite a lot, don't you? This idea of kind of stuff that's quite innocuous suddenly becoming, about slavery, about sexism, about racism.
Oh, totally. Like Fawlty Towers, right? There's just harmless, good sense of humour fun. And now that's wrong. There's just every good comedy show is now forbidden.
I mean, Andrew Sachs played a quite stereotypical Spanish person. Come on, you little Spanish stereotype. Come over here while I hit you.
But were Spanish people harmed by that?
Well, Andrew Sachs, the only person who harmed Andrew Sachs was what's his name, Jonathan Ross.
Oh, God. I forgot about that.
When he phoned up, do you remember that?
I forgot.
He phoned up Andrew Sachs. It was like literally about 2 hours, wasn't it, or something? Wasn't it? It was 20 minutes. Anyway, so has the classic film Home Alone been banned by the BBC because it depicts child abuse and child neglect?
Oh, God. I don't remember seeing this, so I'm going to say it's false.
It is absolutely false. Well done. 63 points. I have to say, the thing that's ruining this quiz recently is that Barnes has been reading the news. when we just had Meyer on his own, it was much easier. Anyway. This week, I've been out and about trying to prank people into believing that the BBC have banned Home Alone on the grounds it depicts child abuse and child neglect. Let's see if I get away with it. The BBC are considering banning Home Alone on the grounds that it depicts child abuse because Macaulay Culkin was left on his own. Is that a bit silly?
I mean, a little bit. But I can kind of see where they're coming from.
The BBC are going to have said they want to ban it because it depicts child neglect because Macaulay Culkin's in the house on his own.
Well, yeah, it does, but it don't need to ban it, though.
Well, it also has violence in it as well because he really hammers those blokes, doesn't he?
He is a bit of a sociopath, yes, but...
What do you think of that?
I don't really think that's the whole idea of the film. I suppose it does show elements of it.
Do you think Christmas has been ruined this year?
I wouldn't say ruined, but it's definitely commercialised. And it's not as Christmassy anyways, it's miserable. Everyone's miserable.
Yeah, what happened to the Christmas lights? Come on.
They can't afford it.
So that council?
They can't afford it. There's a cost of living crisis going on, isn't it?
But they're LEDs, the low energy.
Well, look.
Just like my interview style.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's one of the classics. I think it's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine.
Do you think the BBC have gone a bit too woke recently?
Yes. Yeah, I do, yeah.
Do you think it's important that people think about Jesus at this time of year?
Of course. With the situation of the world, what we should think about first is Jesus Christ, our eternity. Because one day your soul is going to leave this world and is going back to the Maker.
My soul or our soul?
Our soul. Our soul. Everybody. Everybody has soul.
Yes, our souls.
Well, our souls, yeah. One day we are going to leave, and where are you going to? You should think of that first, before any other thing.
What's going to be the best bit about heaven? Because, I really like the mixed grill at Wetherspoons. Will I be able to eat that every day? Portia and Fleur, a pub in Devon, has been accused of wokeness after renaming their ploughman's lunch to a plough-person's lunch after offending women in the region.
That's absurd.
I mean, I'd be more offended. I'd be more offended if I was a woman who was forced to plough.
Oh, yeah.
that would be the critical issue. It reminds me of Borat. You remember when he went dating? He goes, "I want a woman with plough experience." And they said, "Hey, listen, in America, you're not going to get plough experience." But yeah, so would you be offended by a ploughman's lunch?
No.
Not at all. No, I'd be more offended by PLOUGH-PERSON's then.
What is a plough?
I'm
what
a
is a ploughman's
woman,
lunch?
not
I
a
don't know, I'm
one
looking
person.
I've had a couple in my time. It's things so it's got like relish and cheese and stuff like
Bread.
that. Yeah.
Is it basically just throw everything in
Yeah,
together?
it's basically,
just highly calorific.
Yeah, but
So
it's quite an old-fashioned kind of thing to have, from what I know. And my favourite thing, sorry, as you were reading, like, your eye roll was fantastic when you wrote. I could hear it. I could hear your eyes scrape across.
No,
your
that's the cogs in a head going.
But no, this is ridiculous, and we hear these stories all the time of like people wanting to kind of do it like a person first language and wanted to take the gender out of everything.
Yeah.
And you sometimes wonder, is this supposed to be a bit tongue-in-cheek? Like, is it just kind of taking the mickey? But the problem is, it sounds so believable these days that you don't know what's real and what's fake.
I remember when there was a place in North Wales that got the burger band that they'd called Purple Teriyaki. That's an in-joke. That's an in-joke, if ever I heard one. But anyway, but look, I mean, do you think renaming food is really important? I mean, I just find the whole thing just totally bizarre. I mean, it's like, I don't care whether it's a ploughman or a plough person. I mean, I'm more concerned about the fact that the ploughing gets done, right? Yeah. Have your big wedge of bread. It's all good.
No, it's mad. Couldn't care less if it's ploughman, but then I think it annoys me when it is plough person, because ultimately, should it matter, no, it's the name of food, but it's what it stands for, the fact that it has been changed, and that's what annoys me.
Yeah,
so
I agree with you on that.
I'd boycott.
Do you remember when the Americans changed it from French fries to freedom fries? Like,
I don't remember that.
Fries aren't French, they're from Belgium anyway.
Yeah.
So you absolute ignorance. But the best thing was actually, do you know, in Belgium, there's something called an Americana, which is actually steak tartare, because when the Belgians saw hamburgers for the first time, they believed that they were steak tartare and you should eat them raw. So they're called Americanas. In
Really?
Belgium. That is horrendous.
That's awful.
Imagine eating a raw burger.
A raw burger.
Anyway, so a pub in Devon has been accused of wokeness after renaming their ploughman's lunch to a plough person's lunch after offending women in the region. Is it true or false?
I don't know. Because would women in the region be offended?
Actually offended?
And it's Devon.
Yeah,
Devon's normal, isn't it?
I love that. It's Devon.
All that goes on in Devon is they just argue about which way you put your cream and your jam on a scone.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about it, and I don't mean to be rude to the good people of Devon. Your area's that dull that this has become a major issue for you. Do you know when they go, which way do you put your cream on your scone? And you go, I genuinely don't remember. I genuinely haven't made any particular thought about this. Oh, are you doing it the Devon way or the Cornwall way? Don't care. I mean, you think about it. Northern Ireland, there's a big dispute between Catholics and Protestants. Over there, the bond's about cream and jam. How privileged is that? OK, so you reckon it's true or false?
False.
False, yeah.
False.
It is absolutely true. Oh yes. Oh, muted applause.
No, it's just me because I'm winning now.
OK. Elton John says he's quit Twitter, blaming Elon Musk for misinformation.
Oh, good God. If I hear one more story of a celebrity complaining about Elon Musk, I'm not legally liable for my actions. I'm so bored of these stories, these kind of woke, virtue-signalling ignoramuses that know nothing about what they're actually talking about. Because I do know this story because I use Twitter quite a lot. And
did he go, whoa, I am leaving Twitter.
But the interesting thing...
I'm leaving Twitter because I hate Elon Musk.
I really hope he didn't.
I think of that as an excellent impersonation.
But yeah, look at John Culshaw. But no. So what's interesting is Elon Musk tweeted back to Elton John and said, "Sorry to see you. I love your music. Sorry to see you go. Which bit of the policy don't you like?" And there was silence. Yeah. There was no response to it, and I think that was incredibly telling. That it's just looking for attention, looking to jump on a bandwagon.
Yeah, but hang on a second. Isn't he sexist for having a rocket man?
Yeah,
be a
rocket person. Yeah.
Do you know what? I made a joke that got back to David Furnish. Right, there was a debate when civil partnerships and gay marriage came up about what the gay partners of peers and sirs should be called. I suggested that David Furness should be styled Lady John, which he said he quite liked the idea of, apparently, because it's like, it's highly appropriate.
It's
Lady John. Anyway, are you leaving Twitter as a result of Elon Musk?
I'm definitely not leaving Twitter as a result. If anything, more people are back. You know, he's allowed more people to return. It should be a bit more free speech.
Yeah, I just worry about all of this and I generally kind of agree with what Elon Musk's doing because, you know, we had Reem Ibrahim on, who I absolutely love and I think she's fantastic, but she is one of these people who says, no, this is a private company. The company has the right to do what the company is going to do. But at the same time, it's like saying, oh, you know, you can't use the road anymore because the road's owned by somebody. Just find another way of getting around. Well, what are you talking about, right? The reality is, you know, these YouTubes and these Twitters and these Facebooks are the, you know, infrastructure of modern life. And when people start getting banned from them for no good reason, it gives them a significant problem.
No, totally. It really does. But then I don't get like why Elton John even cares. Like, it's not impacting his daily tweeting. Yeah. I didn't even realise he had Twitter. So is he really going to be impacted?
He's going to be one of those people where you go, what, he was still alive? Yeah. Like, by the way, he doesn't call himself Elton John. He calls himself Elton Joan.
Oh, yeah.
Elton Joan.
But no, this is the thing. Like you said, all these celebrities, they're trying to virtue signal. They kind of say, "Look at me, I'm on your side." And then, like I said, when you kind of push them to kind of say, "Well, why are you doing this?" You get nothing from them, or worse, you get rambling nonsense that you're just like, you clearly don't know anything. Just stop talking.
Right, I've got a brilliant Elton John story.
Oh God.
Right. I think this is quite funny. Right, I've got a friend of mine whose kid went to school with one of Elton John's sons, and you know how like when you have a birthday party. When the kids are a bit little, there's one or two mums who are a bit overly protective and they go, oh, if you want to come and have a sherry, you know, right, fine. Right, so Elton John did this. There were 20 kids and 40 parents arrived. Because literally, like, every parent went, I'm going to Elton John's house. And apparently he was wandering around going, there's more adults than kids. Right, it's supposed to be a party for 5-year-olds. And like, there's just all these people here. Apparently he wasn't very polite about it. But I'm with Elton. I'm with, not on this, but I'm with Elton in general. OK, so Elton John says he's quit Twitter, blaming Elon Musk misinformation. Is it true or false?
It's true.
It is absolutely true! 73.5 points. Well, a Conservative MP has proposed that Harry and Meghan lose their royal titles. I've been out and about in London to ask people whether they agree. There's been a motion in Parliament to remove Harry and Meghan's titles. Do you think that's a good or bad thing?
Good. I mean, I love Harry. I love his mum. His mum was actually a beautiful person, but she is just a money-greedy, horrible person.
But Harry compared Meghan to Princess Diana.
No chance. She's just a greedy woman. Her dad got her educated to be where she is now. She completely abandoned her father. Disgusting.
Should Harry and Meghan be stripped of their titles? Come on, I'll run with you.
Not. I totally disagree.
Why not?
I'm sorry, I'm really in a hurry.
No, I'm running too. I'm beating you. I'm outpacing you. Look at the size of me.
I'm not sure why the politicians are spending time on the monarchy, at the monarchy, right?
Do you think it's fair to call them Whinge and Ginge?
I haven't given them that title. I'm not sure which paper. Have you just given them that title?
Yeah, just made it up. Made it up.
People say.
Toot. No, it's like this. I can do it properly. A source close to the Prime Minister told me earlier that I just made it up in the pub. This is Andre Walker pretending to be Jonathan Pye. All right, come on, let's run together. Come on, we'll go together. Come on. Run like the wind. So you're currently live on TV in 15 different countries.
Jesus Christ.
No, don't swear.
Oh, sorry.
I think it's time to leave him alone.
And I think it's time I left you alone as well. But I'll still outpace you. Look at that. There's a Conservative MP that wants to strip them of their titles. Do you think that should go through?
There are children currently starving to death and living in poverty. They are stupid to be concentrating on the wrong things. That's it.
Should Harry and Meghan be stripped of their titles?
My view is that they should do whatever they think is right, but they shouldn't come back to the UK.
Seems to be a bit of a vendetta against Meghan, but I don't know. I don't know her personally, so I just...
What about you?
I mean, I'm in the disabolish the monarchy kind of camp, so it doesn't Title doesn't bring nothing to me, you know what I mean?
So in that case, can I ask you this question? Is the part of the problem here that we're in this ludicrous situation with a family ruling the country and their personal problems become the issues that affect Britain?
Oh, 100%. Like, it's just a family airing a dirty laundry, you know what I mean?
I can speak Bengali, Hindi.
Bengali? I can sing in Bengali.
Sing
I'm not joking.
Bengali?
Ori champagne wala tiomore korale dewana. Ori champagne wala. It means hello, Mr. Boatman in Bengali.
I've got some tortilla from Selfridges and it's not even very nice.
Tortilla from Selfridges?
Yeah.
You don't look like you've got a couple of quid. You look like you're ex-services and you're struggling a bit.
No, I'm definitely not ex-services.
You don't look ex-services. You look like the honey monster.
I'm sorry, what?
I want my honey.
I'm only 24, mate. I don't know that reference.
We're out helping children that's being affected by child abuse, knife and gun crime. Because the government has stopped the funding on 87 community centres, we're trying to get these kids off the streets to get them educated so they can fulfil their aspirations, because we want to stop knife and gun crime. Can I give you one of my wristbands?
I thought you were going to... Yeah, I mean, I can have a wristband.
Because it's got our website on there, so you can go on and see all the work we're doing.
All right, well, put it on, come on.
With the kids.
Come on.
I hope you're going to make a donation to help the kids off the
Oh, bloody! You offered it for free, you cheeky git! Come on, get the kids off the
streets.
Yeah!
Children against child abuse, knife and gun crime.
Yes!
Have a nice day. Happy Christmas.
No, come on, tongue. Tongue. Oh, no, he didn't. Oh. A Conservative MP is planning legislation to strip Harry and Meghan of their royal titles. Please be true. Please be true. Yeah, Harry and Meghan. Look, just begin. I'll just sit.
Yeah, just and off you go.
Begin?
I actually can't wait to watch the documentary. I know that's controversial and a lot of people are...
Yeah, but you were so determined that you've not bothered downloading it yet.
Yeah. No, my mum has made me wait until I'm home for Christmas so we can watch it together. But she told me that she's going to have a sick bucket at the side. So, because she finds...
I mean, that's a heartwarming Christmas, isn't it? So what they do in your household is, let's all get together. We're not going to do a rom-com. We're going to watch the Harry and Meghan describe racist abuse. What passes for fun in your household. They love it. They're going to enjoy that. That'd be great. Have we got anything else on? Yeah, we got Schindler's List out for the video. Let's just go full trip.
Yeah. But what I find quite interesting about this is most politicians haven't really bothered to wade into the Harry and Meghan thing. Like, no matter if they be on the Labour Party, the Conservatives, or anyone, most of them have stayed well away from this issue. And yet, this particular MP seems to have jumped in with 2 feet and made a very stern decision on something. But I think it's going to be interesting to see how legally they could do it, because as far as I know, the only way you can really do it is if you charge them with treason or something like that. I think there's going to have to be like a brand new bill or something.
Well, they've tried multiple times to remove people from the House of Lords on the grounds they're convicted criminals, and the legislation hasn't gone through. But Fleur, look, I mean, what should we do about Harry and Meghan? Because I'll tell you where I'm at. I think it's really difficult because on the one hand, look, these people are exploiting the whole situation. They're a nightmare. I don't believe the allegations they've made. I mean, look, they keep changing the story on various things. But OK, so we've got that. But at the same time, the more you provoke them, the more dishonest they will become. And taking their titles off is provocative.
Yeah, well, they want us to respect their privacy. They've moved to another country. And have tried to distance themselves from the royal family. However, I must admit, I also have listened to her podcast. Ironically.
What is the podcast like?
Yeah.
The thing is, we all took the mick out of it for being defeated by the whale noises. But sorry, not the James whale noises, the actual whale noises. But I haven't listened to it.
So I actually was attacked by a lot of Meghan Markle fans on Twitter because I dared to tweet against Meghan. And all I said was, all Meghan Markle's podcast is her and her guests telling each other how wonderful they are, which is what it is. And at the end, she says, this podcast was produced by the Duchess of Sussex. Like, she's using her title.
No.
Yes, it does,
wow.
yeah.
I got told, though, if one of her staff puts out a tweet and says, Meghan, she has it taken down and renamed the Duchess of Sussex.
Really? But then this
Imagine, I'd love being a Duke as well.
I don't get a laugh.
Imagine,
if I had the title.
Where could I be? Like the Duke of Sandwich.
That sounds like a pub. But
no, the Earl of Sandwich is a real bloke.
I do that. But
served at the Battle of Balaclava.
If that's right, that she's using the Duchess, I actually now agree with this of stripping them of the titles because they're using it to profit. Well, and I don't think that's right. And I think a lot of people in the country will be very much like, look, you know, if you want to go off and do your own thing, that's fine. But it's kind of you're in the royal family or you're out of it. I don't think this kind of straddling the two worlds has worked out well.
Well, of course, there is another problem with the titles, which is, of course, that Meghan Markle said that the reason her son was able to call himself Earl Dumbarton was that the Queen had given him the title because it had dumb in it as an insult to him. Well, the problem, of course, with this is that the real reason he's able to call himself Earl Dumbarton is because Harry is the Earl of Dumbarton and she is the Countess of Dumbarton. So we are now in the ludicrous situation of the Countess of Dumbarton going around saying that her son can't use the title because it has dumb in it. Right? now, you know, if I was from Dumbarton, you know, I'd be pretty furious about that.
I think that's very fair. I think the whole like Meghan Markle faff is absurd, and I think the sooner they're stripped of the titles, the better. If you're using your title and like insisting that the staff use it, then you're respecting the hierarchy of the British institutions, and then at the same time you're slagging them off and slagging off the Queen and the whole royal family. I think Nadine Dorris tweeted about something of it, a screenshot, and was like, "These people are awful."
I thought the most extraordinary thing was when she said, "This is how I curtsied," right? And you could see Harry's face going, well, that didn't happen. Right? And the other thing was, when she went, what I expected was there'd be the public image and then we'd be in private. Well, hang on a second, what do you think the Queen does? You know, oh, get that dress off, give me a dressing gown, let's just sit here, everyone call me Liz. Right? And, you know, at the end of the day, she's not, they think it's just for show. I think she thought it was toy soldiers, castles, all having a bit of fun. It's the governance of the United Kingdom. When she attempted to copyright or protect the intellectual property of royalty so she could put royal crests on underwear, then you think it just shows you. By the way, pyjamas count as underwear in my view. Anyway, but sorry, I might have used some artistic license. But okay, it was for pyjamas. Well, that was one of the things. And then actually you think to yourself, well, you know, how disrespectful. But she just thought it was a big party. I think she thought she was entering the set of Downton Abbey.
And then she had like this wild, like, wide awakening, and she's like, oh no, you actually have to work. You know, life isn't just fairy tale, like, you can't just be a celebrity.
And I've said this before. I remember Theresa May once saying that she was at this NATO summit and they said, well, you know, an American walks up and said, what's it like to be a government minister and also a member of parliament at the same time? And she said, well, I have to fly back from this NATO summit to open up a potato patch in Maidenhead. and I think actually that's something that's very true, because even though the royals are not in quite that position, you know, they do open up all sorts of things. I'll tell you the best story, of course. The Queen and Prince Philip always like to come to lots of things in Windsor. They used to invite themselves to things. They'd come to the opening of an envelope in Windsor. The Queen opened the local Waitrose, but unbelievably, and this is absolutely true, the Duke of Edinburgh opened up a new Chinese takeaway in Old Windsor. Right? Literally, like the Kung Fu Express or something.
My favourite one on that was a story that Prince Philip always used to tell when, do you know, because like a lot of these plaques have like a little curtain over it, and he said, I'm the most overqualified curtain twitcher you've ever seen. And I just thought that summed it up perfectly.
I love when people used to go, how are you today? He goes, I'm bloody fine. Why are you bothering me with this? By the way, that's not a Greek accent. No. Just crossed my mind. He was saying, like, you wouldn't expect him to sound like that if he was an actual Greek. Okay, well, look, I'm going to ask now that you two, if you were MPs, would you be voting to strip them of their titles? Would you vote for this legislation?
I personally would leave it to the King. I don't know. I respect the monarchy. I think that's his decision. Although my personal opinion would be I don't think that they should have their titles because of the massive disrespect that they've given to the royal family, who have given them everything that they have built their life upon.
There are multiple felons who are still walking around with titles in the House of Lords. It then seems maybe churlish to get rid of Harry for just having an argument with his dad and his brother.
Yeah, but I don't think it's just that. It's very much like methodical. They've gone to Netflix, they've got money from this, I'm assuming, and they're just dragging the royal family's name through the mud. I think they're soon like good riddance, basically.
I actually happen to agree with what Fleur's saying, is that I do think it should be really up to the king to do, but I do think that Parliament maybe having some kind of non-binding vote on the issue to say, well, we've got to sort this out now, just if anything, just to draw a line under this drama.
There's lots of weird rules with the peerage. Can I tell you the weirdest ones of all? When you receive your writ to attend the House of Lords, whatever is written on it is your peerage, including typos. And there are actually multiple people who've received peerages accidentally. OK, so is it true or false that a Conservative MP is planning legislation to strip Harry and Meghan of their royal titles?
Yeah,
I think true. Yeah.
Thank God, it's true! Do you think it's fair to call them Whinge and Ginge?
I haven't given them that title. I'm not sure which paper. Have you just given them that title?
Yeah, just made it up. Shaggy's ex-girlfriend, Velma, has become a lesbian in the new Scooby-Doo film.
Oh, good God.
I'll tell you my favourite thing about Scooby-Doo. Right, Scooby-Doo didn't know he was a dog. He'd go, dog? But then whenever he saw a female dog, he'd try and go for her. So he thought that he was a human dog botherer.
Yeah. But no,
he must have done.
So Scooby-Doo was my favourite cartoon growing up as a kid. I loved Scooby-Doo. Like, everything I had, like, at Christmas used to be Scooby-Doo themed. To be honest, I still kind of enjoy it now. But what annoys me about this is it's going back and rewriting something to just make it woke, to push it to the diversity agenda and not to kind of create something new. If they want to add a new lesbian character in it, go ahead and do that, but there's no need to do it.
But how many kids are interested in the issue of lesbianism? I mean, it's like, oh, look, we're concerned there's not enough feminist iconography. Come on, it's a dog chasing a man in a mask.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, in what way? What are we reading into this?
Yeah, exactly. But I just kind of feel sorry for parents as well at some point, where this is kind of being forced on the kids, and the parents are going to have some really awkward conversations with like 6-year-olds about stuff that they clearly will never understand. Won't understand until they get much older.
When you look at it, there is no value to this, is there?
No, there's none at all. I think it does prompt like difficult conversations for a child. And it's like you're probably like 4, 5 even watching Scooby-Doo. You don't want to have a relationship like sex ed class on your screen. You want to watch a cartoon.
And when they talk about diversity, from what I can see, what they want a posh, private school educated, university educated, Middle England black person. Or a posh, private school educated, Middle England gay person. And you think, well, hang on a second, what about some bloke off the estate? Oh, we can't have him. Oh, no, we're not having him. He might bring a pie to work and say something offensive.
Might bring a sausage roll.
Yeah, I know, might bring a sausage roll.
So he might offend everyone.
No, I think Fleur makes a good point, that it's kind of box-tick diversity. But it's not the first time we've seen this. Didn't we have this with Dumbledore suddenly being gay in Harry Potter? And J.K. Rowling said, oh, he was gay all along because people were complaining there was a lack of LGBT characters in the novels or something like that. So this isn't the first time we've seen it, and it definitely won't.
Also, the other thing, of course, about Harry Potter, there was an overrepresentation of people who were wizards.
Yeah.
In the normal population, there are precious few. I met one outside a pub. Yeah. He was later sectioned under the
Yeah.
But I mean, once again, Pete's example, Harry Potter. Do we care if there's a gay character in Harry Potter?
No, I mean, I have only just started watching Harry Potter. I watched...
Well, were you waiting to see it with your mum in the cinema?
Yeah, so
and Mum always says to her, no, you can't watch... I don't know why she's from Wigan. you can't watch that now. You've got to wait till Christmas. We'll have days and days to watch that. And where's she actually from, your mum?
Durham.
Durham, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, man. So, hang on, she's from Durham?
I'm from Durham.
Are you?
Yes.
Oh, do you know the best thing about Durham? they've all applied to Oxford and Cambridge, haven't they? Poor old Durham. I'm speaking at the Durham Union thing. I'll get killed. Also, the other thing in Durham, you know their nightclub is owned by Dominic Cummings.
Yes, Clute.
What's it called? Clute?
Yeah.
Do you know, I went in there.
You know that.
I went into Clute after I spoke at the Durham Union once, and literally, I walked in. It's true. It describes itself as the worst nightclub in the world, and literally, I was just being jostled by all these teenagers, which wouldn't have bothered me when I was a teenager, but as an old fat guy, it's like not a good look. Right?
Yeah. So neither is an old fat guy in a nightclub.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
All right, look, I'm allowed to say it, not you. Not you. Anyway, I left after 10 minutes and the doorman said, I thought you wouldn't last long. Anyway, I just drank my hotel bar empty. Anyway, so look, Shaggy's ex-girlfriend, Thelma, has become a lesbian in the new Scooby-Doo film, True or False?
I'm going to say, because it's that ridiculous that it's true.
It is absolutely true. It'd be interesting to know if they've done any other characters.
Yeah.
let's hope Scooby-Doo's no longer a dog botherer. Yeah. But anyway, okay. Almost 50% of shows on the BBC this Christmas are repeats. Now, I think what's difficult about this question, you've got to decide whether it's only 50%. Oh, God bless Superman and Only Fools and Horses. I mean, I'll tell you something about Only Fools and Horses. I could quote back the scripts.
Yeah.
I mean, I know every word of it.
It's limited programming. Though you do probably get to new Mrs. Brown's Boys, is it? Which everyone, I'm sure, is really excited about.
Yeah.
No, it's
there was very few things I hated about my late mother, but her belief that Mrs. Brown's Boys was valid entertainment was absolutely... I mean, look, mind you, hey, that's diverse. It's got a drag queen in it.
Yeah.
That's true, which people tend to forget. Apparently that's not good entertainment. Who would have thought?
No, those are two separate things. The trans issue is wholly separate to whether that is good entertainment.
Yeah.
Right? You know, you can do anything with that. I'll tell you what, you can't polish a turd.
Younger generations don't watch the BBC. Realistically, they don't watch it, and this is where the BBC is in a lot of trouble because it's not bringing in its next audience. The audience that really watches BBC is dying.
Yeah, but if you look at it, one of the most discredited shows on BBC television is Newsnight. They are making a fortune. The ratings are tumbling into the floor, but because there's no commercial element to it, it doesn't matter. They can make woke rubbish for 4 of their friends to watch and all become millionaires off the back of it. You know what? I'd love to do that. I'd love to do that. I'd love it if my job was literally talking to only people I like about issues that only I care about on the TV. Actually, scrub that.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Okay. I might have been a bit of a hypocrite there, but at least I'm not doing it on the taxpayer.
Yeah.
I think that's quite right. And then pounding. I moved house recently and got a letter through the door from the BBC or whoever it's from saying, "Have you paid your TV licence? If not, we're going to come round and check if you have a TV in your room or in your house, and then charge you X amount." We don't have a TV, not paying the TV licence because you don't get much for it. And it's like, you're going to come round and investigate our home.
I had a friend, and I'm not joking, who years ago didn't have a TV licence or a TV, and in the end sued the BBC for harassment and won in court, and they had to give him compensation. It's also, for those regular viewers, it's also where the Old Kent Road Polytechnic was based. We've had a long discussion about the Old Kent Road Polytechnic, which later became the University of Southwark, but it was a fake institution for the purposes of debating competitions. But the Old Kent Road Polytechnic did sue the BBC for harassment and win. $2,000 they got, which as students they were quite pleased with.
I was going to say,
I'll tell you what,
I'd be happy with $2,000.
I've loved it. Not a Christmas
I'll tell you
product.
what, look at Portia's little face now. She's thinking, send round that stock. So I'll tell you the other thing that makes me laugh about the BBC television licenses. We can scan in your house. Well, if you can, that would be a criminal offence. Now just tell me you're doing it. I mean, the idea, we're scanning in your house, we're listening to you through your window. Well, hang on a second. Not even Vladimir Putin does that. See, I got a Russian reference in. There we go, sorted it. OK, so, look, the BBC repeats, what do we reckon?
I think it's like 50-50 chance on the 50% question.
That's too much mathematics. Is that 25%?
Should we flip a coin?
True.
I don't know. They like nostalgia at Christmas, so true.
I think it's fair, true.
It is absolutely false. Channel 4 is producing a musical based on the life of Prince Andrew.
Oh, good God.
I mean, if this is true...
I mean, if this is true, maybe the government's right that we should sell Channel 4. This is what we're actually going to do with it.
They did that, It's a Sin, and became the UK's largest streaming service. The thing that amazes me is the BBC always says, well, the BBC can only do this because the unique way it's funded. This is the only way we can do public service broadcasting. Channel 4 is a public service broadcaster. Yeah. It has the UK's largest streaming service, bigger than iPlayer, and it's funded by adverts. I mean, what does that tell you?
Yeah, I think the BBC has a really important role, especially when you think about the countries it produces news in, and especially on human rights violations, really, really valuable. But at the same time, it can do better. It's not really attracting anyone new and different and young to it. They're just producing supposedly diverse and shows that are awful.
Would we turn around and say to ourselves, and anybody can chip in here and answer this, or would we say to ourselves that the fact that that Channel 4 has a commercial element with the adverts is the reason it's better than the BBC?
I think you're right there, because it gives it that if something is failing, then there is that kind of, well, we have to get rid of it, because no advertiser is going to want to advertise during a programme that nobody's watching. And I think you make a really good point when you mentioned Newsnight earlier. There is no kind of, we have to make good TV, because there's no risk to the BBC. Yeah. It does have a monopoly over pretty much everything, including the news. And when it comes to Channel 4, it was set up to be an alternative to the BBC. It was supposed to be a little bit more edgy. It was supposed to be a bit more out there. And yet these days, I struggle to tell the difference between the two.
Is it possible that the reason that Channel 4 kind of does well is because it's there for a particular group of people? It's an alternative. Whereas the BBC, this concept of everyman, in a sense is silly, because if you think about it, now we've got the option to do YouTube. Now there's hundreds of channels on Sky and Virgin and all this sort of thing. Actually, you don't need to produce something for everyone. There's a lot of people, frankly, who would hate to watch this television show. That doesn't matter, because actually, we're not attempting to appeal to absolutely everybody. We're attempting to appeal to a particular demographic. And then of course, a different part of our company, say TalkSport, would appeal to somebody else. And that's a reasonable way of living.
Yeah, if I want to look for something to watch, I'm not going to browse BBC iPlayer. There's Netflix, there's Amazon Prime, what else?
Well, there's YouTube and also the free ones. There's loads of them.
Yeah.
TalkTV app. Get the TalkTV. Have you got the TalkTV app?
Yes.
Get your phone out, guys. The TalkTV app. Barnes, have you got it?
I've got it. But no, I think you make a really interesting point there about doing shows for every man. I think what annoys me the most about the BBC is they believe they're actually doing that, when in reality they're still making TV shows for middle-class people in the home counties. There was a story not so long ago where the BBC wants to kind of lower its kind of educational standard of TV show, which I actually found incredibly insulting. Because, people from all different backgrounds can enjoy lots of different things. And he was like, oh, no. The way to bring people back to the BBC is to lower its kind of, its tone. No, it's not.
But that is exactly what Fleur was talking about before, where there's a kind of huge intellectual, well, not quite talking about it, but a huge intellectual snobbery where, there's a group of people in that case at a nursery where they're just out of touch with ordinary people. And the BBC think that the reason you don't like going to the opera is because you're stupid. It's because it's crap. 7 hours. Come on, love. I don't know what she's warbling about. Anyway, look, plus the catering facilities are at best poor. Right? I mean, it's like somebody took me sailing once and they said, do you like sailing? I went, I love sailing, but I like the sort of ships with casinos on board and bars, right? I don't want to have to operate it myself. I'm not Captain Cook.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. It's these people, they kind of put themselves in their own little echo chamber, and the only time they ever come into contact with somebody who's working class is when they come to fix the kitchen. That's the reality.
Well, as I've always said, and the ladies I don't know this particular area, but you and I know Manchester quite well. The fact that the BBC took over Salford and managed to make it posh. Unbelievable. Literally, nobody in Salford was middle class apart from Worsley. And now the BBC. I will tell you, you can order in Salford you can order a vegan ciabatta, right? There is nobody I know born in Salford would ever like, have you got a vegan ciabatta? Has anyone got any organic tomatoes? No, you'll have fish and chips, lad.
Exactly.
That's it. How you made Salford posh. Move the BBC. Goodness me. Okay. Yah, rah. Whoa, those aren't words in
I was
Salford.
going to say, is that the real plan behind levelling up? It's just to keep moving the BBC headquarters around the country.
Yeah, no, but the BBC is so lame that they didn't actually employ people from Salford. They just paid people from London to come. So literally, all they've done is just relocated White City in Salford and called it Salford. It's unbelievable.
Oh no! One of my favourite moments is one of the local pubs I used to drink in Manchester. There was this guy in there. He says, "I don't mind these Londoners coming up, but they could keep the concept of a £6 pint where they found it." As in, that's what most people at the North were more annoyed about.
What about the old joke? A guy walks into a bar in Salford and says, "Can I have a lager and lime?" "I'm sorry, we don't do cocktails." Anyway, Channel 4 is producing a musical based on the life of Prince Andrew. Is it true or false?
I'm going to say it's false.
Unbelievably, it's true. Well, that's all we've got time for this week. I want to congratulate my winner, Peter Barnes, who admirably stepped in on his own, but also thank my other guests, Fleur Meston and Portia Berry-Kilby. I've just been told that Maya Toosey has gone into the communal baths with the staff at ACAS because negotiations have broken down. We're going to try and bring him back to you next week. But until then, goodbye.